Hello, I am Ade Novia Nur Rokhmah from Research Proposal Seminar Class E. In this video, I would like to present my proposal seminar with the title Students' Perception on the Use of Comic Strips Towards Students' Motivation in English Writing Ability. Writing is known as one of the most important English language skills to master. Most of the English learners might agree that writing is the most difficult thing to master. Students have a low interest to learn writing and that caused the lack of ability in that skill. The written language has nowadays an important social and educational function, and its status has a high social prestige. It is also considered that their academic quality is considered by their written product, such as paper, thesis, or other research. According to Kingston, students' achievement in learning English is only measured by productive skills, especially in writing performance. Many students are able to understand the language, but most of them are unable to develop their ideas into a product, especially a writing product. According to Rahmi Aulia Nurdini, in her research, found that by using pictures as the teaching medium, students are more interested and motivated to learn more. And picture is also an effective learning medium that could stimulate students to develop their ideas. Thus, this paper will focus on students' perception on improving students' writing skill through comic strips without text dialogue. According to the background of the study, researchers formulated the research question as follows. Based on the research question formulated, the objective of this study as follows. In this research, the researcher hope and expect that the result of this study will give some benefits to students, teacher, and also for the future research. For the students, it is expected that students are more motivated and encouraged to learn writing by using comic strips. And for the teacher, it is expected that this research could guide and be the reference to use comic strips as the media in the process of teaching and learning. And for the future research, it is expected that this study could be the reference on doing the different research with the similar topic. The scope and limitation of the study is this research focuses on investigating students' perception on the use of comic strips towards their motivation in English writing. This study will be conducted in SMPN 22 Surabaya and aimed for 8th grade students. The researcher will take about 20 students who have been using comic strips as their media in learning as the respondents. Definition of key terms. There are 4 definitions of key terms in this study. The first, comic strips, and the second, students' perception. The third is students' motivation, and the fourth, writing ability. Hillman stated that textless comic or comic without text is pure comic or picture that contains very minimal text. Textless comics consist of visual literacy, culture literacy, and literacy with print. In the context of education, the visual literacy will lead students to learn and interpret the image shown. The same thing will with culture literacy that will lead students to learn more about characteristics and expectation of social groups, while the literacy prints will lead students to learn more about reading and writing language and delivering message. There are some previous research of this study. From those previous research, this study has the similarity especially in using comic strips for writing ability. Those research have different research design as collaborative classroom action research and qualitative research design. In this study, researchers take the qualitative research design and will focus on students' motivation in writing, and the subject of the research will be 8th grade of SMPN 22 Surabaya. This research will use qualitative design as the research method and will be conducted at SMPN 22 Surabaya. It is located at Kayung Sari Street, Kayungan, Surabaya. The study will investigate students' perception on the use of comic strips towards their motivation in writing. The subject of this research will be the students of 8th grade who use comic strips as the medium of learning writing. The researcher will choose one class as the respondents. The students and the school are chosen because they are suitable with this research topic and criteria so that the researcher can get the appropriate information to accomplish the research. And for the data and the source of data, the researcher used students' perception as the data source that came from the questionnaires and interviews. The data source will be the result of the questionnaire given and also the interview result. The interview result will be in the form of audio recording of students as the interviewee. Researchers also use questionnaire in the Google form that students can answer it in the school or in their home. Besides, the researcher uses the interview guideline and the audio recorder from the mobile phone to do the interview. The question of the questionnaire will be the semi-open questions that are asked about students' perception on the use of comic strips towards their motivation in writing. It will consist of questions about how do they think comic strips help them in writing, encourage them to write, helps them to transmit their ideas, make them more interested in the lesson, and has benefits for them as a media in English learning. The interview also will consist of the question about what they feel when the teacher provides the comic strips to help them be more encouraged in writing and how is the impact for their motivation in writing. In analyzing the data, the researcher will transcribe the data from the questionnaire, calculate the response, and categorize the result into positive and negative response and also with the questionnaire. After getting the result, the researcher will make the conclusion from the result. In conducting this research, firstly, the researcher designs the research that consists of the research background, research gap, research question, literature review, and the method. After formulating them, the research asks the permission from the school SMPN 22 Surabaya to do the research, thereby giving the questionnaire and doing some interviews with 5 students. After doing the data collection, the researcher continued to analyze and process the data to know the result and make the conclusion. Thank you for watching this video. Kelas, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.